Does it ever feel like you're a marketing professional just speaking into the void? Well, with LinkedIn ads, you can know you're reaching the right decision makers. You can even target buyers by job title, industry, company, seniority, skills. Wait, did I say job title yet? Get started today and see how you can avoid the void and reach the right buyers with LinkedIn ads. We'll even give you a $100 credit on your next campaign. Get started at linkedin.com/results. Terms and conditions apply.
Hello, and thank you so much for joining the conversation here on Raising Me. This is a podcast where we talk about all kinds of things we're experiencing as parents, the big, the small, and all the things in between. I'm Adrienne Stein, a mom of three, ranging in age from 6 up to 17, and today we are talking about something maybe you haven't heard much about, but it's really interesting stuff and it impacts all of us. And before we get started, just a really quick shout out to our sponsor, Maine Health. Today, we are talking about the vagus nerve, right? So when our producer brought this up, admittedly, I was like, What? You sure? Really? But it turns out it has a lot to do with our health and even happiness. It's a nerve connecting the brain to the rest of the body. It plays a huge role in stress, digestion, even mood regulation. So whether you or your kids are experiencing stomach issues or anxiety or sleep issues, this actually could be a key player. So we are talking with Dr. Allyson Coffin. She's a chiropractor who specializes in the nervous system health. And we're going to talk about simple and natural ways to support it for our kids and for us. Check it out. Dr. Coffin, thank you, of course, as always, for being with us again. This is kind of an interesting topic, right? But it impacts so much of not just who we are, but how our kids are.
Yeah, so the vagus nerve is a really important neural pathway in our body that a lot of us want to understand so that we know how to help it function better for us and for our kids.
But what exactly is it?
So the vagus nerve is literally a nerve. It comes, it's your 10th cranial nerve. So it comes right out of the base of your head in your brainstem, and it pierces through your head, your neck, your torso, and your abdomen. So if you think of all the organs and functions from your head to your abdomen, it's a lot. So breathing and talking and your heartbeat and a whole bunch of different things that it incorporates.
I've heard it described as sort of like a hidden world because it impacts so much of who we are.
Right. So when our vagus nerve is not functioning properly, we call this poor vagal tone. It means that you have some very interesting symptoms. So you might have sleep problems. You might have a high heart rate. You might be sweating when you're really not supposed to be sweating, or things like that just seem like they don't really make sense or fit into a puzzle piece where it's an instant answer.
Okay. So it's just in general, it is important to our overall health.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. But so some of these things that you're talking about too, they're like sleep problems or things like that could be caused by other things. So how do you identify, the vagus nerve is sort of not functioning properly and it's not a result of something else happening?
So when people have poor vagal tone, they're usually in a fight or flight response for a lot of the time.
Okay, so what does that look like?
Fight or flight means that you're irritable more than you want to be.
Huh? Well, that's the reason? Okay, continue.
You usually can't sleep well, or you wake up in the middle of the night and have racing thoughts. That's a fight or flight response. You crave sugary, carby foods a lot.
Allyson, I've got a problem with my vagus nerve, it sounds like.
Well, there's a lot of ways you can figure out if it's your vagus nerve or if it's something else, because not everything is your vagus nerve, even though this is a very popular topic right now. So how to find out is if you do the things that help your vagus nerve. And so the things that help soothe your vagus nerve are very easy, but you just got to do them. So the things that everybody knows that is good for their body. So you have eating healthy at regular intervals is very good for your vagus nerve because it loves predictability. Doing meditation is helpful, but specific meditation of humming or chanting is good for your vagus nerve because when you hum, you stimulate your diaphragm, which is your vagus nerve literally pierces that diaphragm. So humming it soothes your vagus nerve inside your body. Another one that's also popular but has been good for hundreds of years is cold plunging is very good for your vagus nerve because it increases the dopamine in your body. And then when you cold plunge, you actually, if you're in a fight or flight response, it'll take you out of it because you breathe heavily.
to your system.
Yeah, and then when you come out your vagus nerve, you feel better when you do those ship things.
You mentioned it's like a hot topic right now. Why is it a hot topic right now? What is causing it to become mainstream conversation?
I just think more people have become aware since 2020 and the pandemic. People are aware of their body and their nervous system and their health, and they want to know what's going on in their body. Before then, in my practice, like people just kind of like, what about their business, and like saw their doctors for their regular things. But now people really want to know what they could do for themselves to heal their body and their nervous systems. And I would say even in the last 5 years, I've heard more people talk about their nervous system and actually know what that means than ever before.
So why should we be thinking of this in terms of our kids? And what are some things to look for? I mean, because, I'm thinking of moody teenagers who that's part of their development, but could it be linked back to something that we can address with the vagus nerve?
Well, it could be something that we can try to help with the vagus nerve. And if that doesn't work, then we go to other options. But helping your vagus nerve is a really easy thing to do, and it's free. So you can do guided meditations if your kids are not into doing like a quiet meditation with you. You can do humming with them. You can have certain wavelengths of sounds like put on Spotify that will soothe the vagus nerve. All you have to do is like feel it. Yep. And you can play it in the background. It doesn't have to be loud, and that can soothe their system, make them feel a little bit better. I definitely welcome people to try that out with their kids because it's worked for me and my family. And then cold plunge is a hard thing for the kids to do.
Well, but what about to that point? What about turning the shower on the coldest setting right before you get out? Something like that helps?
Yeah, something like that helps. Or like in the summertime, like jumping into a cold river, that helps. Like all those types of things are really good for your nervous system, and then in turn good for your vagus nerve, which makes your body less anxious, less tired, less irritable. And all those things are helpful for your relationships with your kids, which is what matters the most.
Interesting. So that sort of that, not just like mind-body connection for yourself, but also with others.
Yeah.
Nothing feels better than feeling your best, which is why Maine Health continues to provide Northern New England with the best network of people, programs, and resources working to help you be your healthiest self. And by doing so, we're creating different paths and giving you options in personal wellness. That's health and care in harmony. That's Maine Health. To learn more, go to mainehealth.org/harmony.
Yeah, it's all like, I think that our whole life is made up of relationships, and especially the relationships with our kids. And if they can be regulated in their nervous system to be able to communicate what they need to us, and then we can be regulated in our nervous system to be able to hear what they're saying, like that is gold. So if you can do anything you can to make that better, which are the things we just talked about, then why not?
When it comes to being a chiropractor, like can somebody seek chiropractic care for a vagus nerve if some of these other things don't work out? Like how does that fit in?
So certain patients come in with certain symptoms when they come in with a poor vagal tone. So that's not what they don't say, hi, I'm here because I have poor vagal tone.
Oh, sure.
They're just like, I'm really tired. My neck hurts. I can't catch a breath. Right. They'll say something like that.
So then what?
So when they come into my practice for that, I'll like do an exam, blah, blah, blah. And then they usually have a restriction in their neck, meaning that they need to be adjusted in their neck because your vagus nerve comes through your neck. And so we'll fix that because if you have pressure in your neck, pushing on any part of your body, it's uncomfortable. And then other things that I teach people that have problems with their vagus nerve, I teach them how to breathe into their diaphragm. So we'll do breathing exercises where they'll lay on their back and they'll put their hands under their diaphragm and they'll feel their body rise and fall. And that helps calm it down. And then with very, very little kids, like 4 and under, I teach parents how to do this exercise where the kids lay on their back with their knees bent and their parents hold their legs and they rock them back and forth. And so it rocks your cranium, so your head back, and it calms your vagus nerve by rocking the middle of your belly. It works really well for anxious kids.
So, anxiety is such a hot topic too, because so many kids are experiencing that now. But at what age do you kind of wonder if a symptom, a sign, or whatever could be tied to the vagus nerve for kids? Like
for kids, it's usually when they're starting to communicate with you. So like really like 5-6, not like baby communication, like 5-6, when they can like tell you their emotions and things. And then teenagers, most of them have vagus nerve issues, so you just tell it all.
I mean, right? Like I'm just thinking of some of these things you're describing.
Yeah.
Pretty typical teenage
Very much.
behavior. So let's go through the list again of things that we can do if we're seeing the stress, the anxiety, the sleep problems.
Yeah. So you want to set up yourself for success with sleep. So just like a lot of kids have screens, and so just make sure those are away an hour before bedtime, because the blue light from the screen keeps your brain on thinking it's daytime. So that's not going to help with their sleep, and that's not going to help with their vagal tone. So have some screen rules.
Right.
And then
easier said than done.
Yeah.
Let's be real. But I love the concept.
Yes. And then also, like, you could just tell your kid that, like, if your kid's irritable and tired all the time, you're like, hey, well, this is what you can do. And if you want to do this, I'm happy to help you.
And even just asking the questions like, well, what time did you turn off your phone?
Yeah.
Or, at 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock, whatever is reasonable, depending on their age or whatever, it charges in a drawer in the kitchen or whatever it might be. Yeah.
Yeah. And then the other things that are helpful that you can do is meditating, but specifically meditating with humming. So humming, because it stimulates your diaphragm and helps with your vagus nerve and moves your vagus nerve, literally moves it. So that's really helpful and very easy to do. You can hum in the shower. You don't have to be meditating while you do it. And you can hum on your way to school, whatever works for you.
What kind of long-term health issues could there be if poor vagal tone is not addressed?
Lots of them. So you can get like chronic migraines, headaches, blood pressure issues, heartbeat issues. So like tachycardia, bradycardia, like too fast, too slow, heart rate. So a lot of really big issues, but poor vagal tone is also like synonymous with being in fight or flight all the time. So if you're in fight or flight all the time, you're going to have all of these symptoms. But if you're not, then you're going to feel better.
As we're talking here, the poor vagal tone, it's like a lot of kind of, I'm recognizing these symptoms in myself, but is there like an actual test that you can do or a doctor can do to say, you have poor vagal tone? Or is it really just trying these kind of things and seeing if it works?
It's really like a smattering of symptoms, and also the severity of symptoms. So everybody's like a little anxious sometimes, like maybe not, but maybe me. But yeah, so everybody's a little anxious sometimes, or everybody is a little grumpy sometimes. It's not just like those little pieces. It's like when it's interfering with your life, that's when you know that you have an issue.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if somebody is listening to this and saying, well, I recognize these symptoms in myself or my child, because of reality, a lot of this stuff I think is very applicable for us as parents, especially what you're describing feels very close to home. But, what should we be doing today? What is the takeaway when it comes to understanding the vagus nerve and how it impacts not just us, but our kids, our family as a whole?
I think there's a few things. So just making sure that everyone that's listening to this is paying attention to their kid. So they just notice if they're more anxious or they're more withdrawn, or also if they're having really weird symptoms, like they're feeling dizzy for an unknown reason, and they've already eaten, and it's not like those very easy symptoms. It might be a poor vagal tone issue, and you might want to try out those very easy things that we just talked about. And if not, then go see your primary care physician and be like, hey, I think my kid has a vagal tone issue, and they'll know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and back on that too, because you can pass out.
Yeah, you can. You can pass out. Yeah, that's the problem.
Also speaking from experience.
Yes.
So, okay, that's wonderful. Well, geez, I mean, I learned a lot on this today, Allyson. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. And of course, we'll have more resources on our website, which is wgme.com/raisingme. Always a pleasure.
Thanks.
Thank you so much, as always, to Dr. Coffin for her insight and to you for listening to Raising Me. I'm Adrienne Stein. This episode is edited by Megan Littlefield and produced with Nate Eldridge. And a thank you to our sponsor, Maine Health. Please follow Raising Me wherever you get your podcasts and consider a positive rating and review to help others find the message as well. And wherever you are, I hope you learn something new and get to take a little time for you.